Hey, what's going on guys? It's Serge here. Welcome back to another video, and today we will be talking about positives and the negatives on Battlefield 6 launching on old gen. That being PlayStation 4s, Xbox Ones, Xbox One X, PlayStation 4 Pros, etc. If you guys want more videos about Battlefield, please make sure to subscribe and like, and I'll see you guys in the next video, which will be posted next Friday. So, larger player base is one of the big positives of having old gen launch. By not allowing old gen to go, there will be a chance for a big void in the player base where there won't be as many players, because we're in a little bit of a shifting year when there's not as many people that can get the new PlayStations and the new Xboxes. And let's be honest, the console communities are much larger than the PC communities, because PC communities are much more further spread out. So if they miss out on such a large amount of players, there will be situations where they're not making as much money and the player counts aren't as high because no one can get the new consoles. The demand is at an all-time high, and if you guys know, the computer chips, they don't have enough. So it's in a bit of a rough situation if they don't allow old gen. If they do, they're guaranteed to make more money. Another positive is next gen hasn't really started. See what, there's probably been around 1 million or 2 million PlayStations sold. Do you know how many PlayStations are in for 4? Do you know how many PlayStations have been sold? 100 million. That is enough of a big player base to delay the next gen, because that grew very slowly. There was a lot of hype at the beginning, a lot of people bought it, but then slowly it did die down to a steady number that's just going up after time. So only a really small amount of people have the PlayStation and the Xbox. So it really hasn't started because there hasn't even been other proper exclusives. I mean, Xbox launched with what? What did they launch with? The Medium? No, they didn't even launch with that. PlayStation launched with games you can play on the PlayStation 4, except Demon Souls? Okay. Not really in the next gen, are we? Negatives. Limitations on graphic fidelity. If we are stuck with players on the PlayStation 4, what do you think is going to happen? They're going to have to put down the graphic potential of the game to work with the old game consoles. We're not going to get all of that sexy new effects that come in with the new games. We're just going to get the same old boring graphics from the previous Battlefields. If we allow old gen to have access to this game, the graphics are going to go very low compared to what they could be. More dev work on porting it to old gen. A very prominent example of why you need developers to work on making it work on the old generation is Cyberpunk. As we can see, when it launched on the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One, it's unplayable. It was so bad, Sony removed it from their store. So imagine what would happen if they don't put any devs on there. Yeah, you need at least a team working on there for around a month or two just to make it playable, not to optimize it. So that's so much dev time that's going into making it available for the older consoles and not working on the future ones, which just go back to graphic fidelity because they're too busy making sure it works, even though that PlayStation that sounds like a helicopter taking off is going on. Less frame optimization. Pretty simple. The PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One really just got up to 30 frames per second. There was nothing crazy. On PC you can get up to like 500 frames per second if you're that crazy, but most people like to stick around 120 frames to 60 frames. That's where the majority of players will hang around. Just makes it more smooth. But if you're playing on the PlayStation, you're not going to have a great time at 30 FPS unless you've been just used to that. But if you're a PC player or anything like that and you try and play that, it's not going to be nice. And remember what I said, there's more devs that have to be working on porting it to old gen, so they can't optimize it as much, so there'll be less frame optimization, so you might not be able to get as much as you want out of your game. It won't be as smooth. No boost to upgrade consoles. So at the moment there's no real like incentive apart from pure power to get the new ones. If we want more games to be utilized for the new graphics, because it helps everywhere, more times going into those higher graphics that does benefit PC players and everyone around, then we're going to make sure that there's a push by telling people they have to get the new console if they want to play the new game. That's really going to get the demand. Even though it is already super high, this is just going to boost it because there's an understanding that if I want to play this game, I've got to upgrade now. And trust me, a lot of people want to play Battlefield. Okay, let's think about the age of these consoles. When did the consoles come out? 2013. You were playing on 7-year-old hardware. This is a console, remember. It's not a PC that you can modularly upgrade. You've been stuck with that the whole time. And I would say 90% of all players that play console have not cleaned their console in those 7 years. You're playing a 7-year get all the hardware in an industry that is moving like rockets. Really have to be careful. If we're staying in the back, there's not going to be any progress. Need to make sure people are moving it up. Even if you got the PlayStation 4 Pro or the Xbox One X, that's still 4 years, which isn't too long, but if you think about it, kind of is if you want the best specs. So if you have a chance, upgrade. If you don't, I don't know what you're going to do. But anyway guys, those were the positives and the negatives to Battlefield 6 launching on old gen. If you are an old gen Battlefield player, please let me know in the comments if you really wanted to come out on your console, or if you're keen to upgrade for the new features that will be available. From what I can tell at the moment, it's looking a bit like old gen's not going to be served with Battlefield 6, but that could be so easily redone if they're given the option to make more money, because let's be honest, they're all businesses. But anyway guys, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time for another Battlefield video. Peace.